track coach Michael Ford in Paris, France for the Olympic Games, and of course the sprint coach for the United States team. And what a day. Michael, first of all, thanks for your time. I hope you're enjoying the all of everything, the atmosphere of the Olympic Games and also France. But my goodness, what a finish in the 100 meters with Noah Lyles, Thompson, Curley. Have you ever seen anything that close?
No, I actually haven't. It was the first time, I think, in history that the entire field went sub 10. So that was amazing. That was just amazing to see that. And then Noah didn't have the greatest start. I think he was still in last place going through 60 meters. And his top end speed is so good. His last 60 meters was his last 60 was faster than his first 60, which doesn't make. In most of the time, people are decelerating at that point, between 80 and 100, but he's still accelerating. And I think that's what won him. And I think him leaning with his chest. I think the Jamaican Thompson, he didn't lean with his chest. And I think that's why Noah won.
Yeah, some of the fundamentals that you're taught when you teach your athletes or whatever. What does this mean for Noah Lyles? I know he's a confident young man. He's been through a lot. But what do you think winning the 100 meters, the gold, means to him?
Well, it was funny. So today he has his first round today of his 200. They didn't get a lot of time to celebrate that 100 last night, but it means a lot to him. I think that was one of his goals. He set the high expectations after winning last year at the World Championship. And he said, hey, I want to win 3 gold medals, and it has to start with the 100. And I think through the rounds, he got second in his first round. He got second in the semifinal. And but he was looking really good in his block starts and his running and even his practices leading up to the games. And I think I remember talking to his coach last week. He said, Mike, Lance Brahman, he said, I think he'll run 9.7, but I don't know if the 9.7 will win the meet. And I guess it did win the meet. So he's on a cloud. He's on a cloud 9 right now. He's very confident going into the 200. And I wish he had a little bit longer to celebrate that 100 championship. But he has to get ready for the 200 tonight. But he'll have a day off. His semifinal won't be until Wednesday also. So
in the semifinals, I saw where, Curley crossed the line second, and he was glancing at who was first, and I don't know if it was Thompson. It was Thompson. And then Lyles kind of did the same thing. Both of those semifinals were both also incredibly tight. Is there gamesmanship when you see guys like that? They're kind of staring at the guy in front of them because they maybe know they have more left?
Yeah, it's a little bit of gamesmanship too. And I think once you kind of separate, once you separate from the rest of the field, you're looking because then you're like, you know what, maybe I can slow down a little bit. I can conserve some energy going into that final because as soon as they get off the track for that semifinal, they have about an hour before that final. And it's really even less than an hour because time they get through media, get some treatment, they probably have about 30 minutes and then they're back on the track again. So I think looking over to make sure, but I also think the gamesmanship with those guys has been big this year too.
Michael, you're in charge of that. That's what you're there for. But you understand track and field. You've been around it all your life, been a part of it. Now, of course, the coach at Baylor. What is it? Can you kind of describe the grind of what these guys are going through? And it's amazing that all of the training to get to Paris, and it's a chest hair, basically, that is the difference between winning the gold medal and finishing second.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the most the training that you put in for 4 years to run 9.7 seconds, and you do. Basically in track and field, pretty much every event, you're just doing repeats of everything over and over to kind of fine tune it to try to make less mistakes as possible. And I think that's what, like for him yesterday, he made less mistakes than everybody else. I thought everybody else ran great. But I think just that pressure because if you don't do well at the Olympics, now you got to wait another 4 years. Mm-hmm. And so much stuff can happen in another 4 years. So I think it's just really special. I think I was reading even Fred Curley, he's the fourth American ever to get a medal at the last Olympics that were in Tokyo, and he got a medal here. And I'm like, America has been deep in 100 history, and he's only the fourth guy to do back-to-back Olympics. And I thought that was interesting when I read that last night.
Well, and of course, there was that run of dominance from Usain Bolt, which no one was going to beat him. But this is the first time in, 20 years or so for the United States to win the 100 meters, which is kind of staggering. You look at, okay, Usain was going to win, but this is something that, on occasion, somebody has stunned the United States. But how important, I mentioned about what it means to Noah Lyles. What does it mean to the United States sprint team?
It meant a lot. I mean, I think if you look at the last few years, the U.S. sprint team is, I would say, post Usain Bolt, we pretty much dominated the one and the two since he retired. We swept at World Championships. We did well at last year's World Championships. We did well at the championships in Eugene. We swept the 200 in Eugene. I think we had 2 or 3 medals at the World Championships last year. So I think the dominance is coming back to the U.S. But I know Jamaica, their guys are still young too. So I love the rivalry of that. But I think just the American sprinters I think they got a little tired of losing to the Jamaicans. Or even the Italians. Italian won last. He won the last Olympics.
Yeah, Jacobs won, I think, in Tokyo. Michael, what's it like to be there? You've traveled afar because of track and field in your time in the sport, but what's it like to be there among everything? And do you ever have chance to get away from what your role is as a sprint coach and kind of take anything in?
Honestly, I have not taken anything in between coming to the track. Well, the U.S. team we actually rented out a facility, so pretty much every U.S. sport team can go to a facility, just one facility. They have indoor track, outdoor track, swim pool, basketball courts, everything. So we normally train there mostly in the mornings before the track meet started. And then I'm at the track. They have a morning session. I left a morning session. We had the 400 hurdles go off this morning. I actually washed some clothes this afternoon, grabbed some lunch, and then I'm back at the track right now for these 200s. But I think once the relays get done and once the morning sessions are done, I have a little bit more time to kind of go sightsee. And I'll spend 2 more days after track's over, and I'll do some sightseeing.
Yeah, you've got another full week and 2 or 3 days before you're coming back. I mentioned you've traveled abroad. Had you been to France before? Is that one of the places you've been before during whatever you've done with your career?
Yeah, I've only been to France once, and the last time I came to France was an Olympic year, and it was in 2008 when I worked with Jeremy and Reggie Witherspoon. Mm-hmm. They both had a meet here at the same facility. Only difference is they remodeled the inside. So it's special because they both ran really well here in the 400 that day. And so, but it's a beautiful complex. Paris has done a great job with the complex. The weather's been on and off. It's a little bit, feels like Texas a little bit, been a little bit hot, a little bit humid, mm-hmm. a lot of rain. But they put on a good show, at least for the track.
I saw the note about Ezekiel Nathan. He advanced into the semifinals. So what's his schedule now?
Yeah, so he advanced this morning also. He ran fairly well, got second in the heat. And he'll be off tomorrow. He'll have a semifinal on Wednesday, and then if he makes final, the final will be on Friday. So basically, he has a day. He races day off, and then another race.
I mentioned Nathan Ezekiel, who's now qualified, advanced into the semifinals. To have somebody that's actually a part of Baylor, you mentioned Warner and obviously Michael Johnson and so many others that have had a history in the Olympic Games. Williamson, what's it like to have a guy right there, and he's trying to continue to advance right now?
Oh, it's a great feeling. Even though I'm with the U.S. staff, we had a moment this morning, and we got a chance to talk a little bit. And Coach Dalton, he's here with him too. So he has his hurdle coach from Baylor here working with him. So if I can't get away, then Coach Dalton's here. But it was great to see him compete and get it to another round. And I think he's ready for another breakthrough. I know he made it to the semifinals at the World Championships, the last two World Championships. So now we're just hoping that he can make it to the final.
Michael Ford, I know you got to go. When you are there as the Olympic the sprint coach, but other athletes have their coaches, what is that? Is that just making sure you're taking care of what the entire team needs, or also mixing in some thoughts with the coaches that have been with some of these sprinters throughout their career?
Yeah, no, most of it is just honestly trying to help them out as much as I can. So whatever they need me to do, if they need me to move, to put some hurdles up or blocks or time, it's whatever they need me to do. That's what I'm here for. We have a couple of the sprinters, their personal coaches haven't come, and so I'll find out if they have their workouts for the time they're here, and then I'll help them out as much as I can. But most of the majority of them, like Noah Lyles, Kenny McNairick, Fred Curley, their personal coaches are here. I have a group chat with all of them. We kind of just go over when they need to get to the track, when they're gonna shake out, when we're gonna have practice. Like we'll have relay practice tomorrow, getting ready for the 4x1. Yeah, and so that's all I do. So I'm almost like a manager with the team.
But having fun, and it's a great honor for you to be a part of that, and that's what's awesome too. You mentioned Witherspoon, and how difficult do you think Trayvon Bromell, who had his great surge and his run too, but it never really ended with the way he wanted? How much do you think that still hurts him?
I don't think it hurts him. I think it's still motivating him. I know we actually he's back in Waco training. He started coming. He actually moved back to Waco. He's training with me now, and so we're gonna try to. I'm not gonna say rekindle anything, but we're gonna try to get him back to where he was and get him ready for next year. But we had probably four weeks of good training before I left, and he may run two more races after Olympics, or we'll just shut it down and get ready for next year. But he's actually really motivated. I know we talked after the women's final. And he said, "Coach, I'm ready to get back at it." So he's fairly healthy right now, and so I'm looking forward to getting him back and hopefully make a world championship team next year.
And one of the local stars in Will London from Waco High that was a part of Baylor and also the Olympic team. Michael, thanks for your time. So Noah Lyles tries to go for the double. That's not easy to do. How much would that mean that if he caps off the 100 and also was to take on the 200?
Yeah, that'll be epic. I mean, that's always the goal. I mean, everyone focuses on the fastest man, which is 100, but Noah, the 200 is what he calls his baby. And so I could see us. Honestly, I could see the Americans sweeping it if we run correctly. I think we can sweep it. So I'm looking forward to getting this first round out the way tonight, and then seeing how these semis match up. And then also, Zaza Prosper, our javelin thrower, he'll be throwing tomorrow. He'll be throwing tomorrow, trying to qualify. So I'm looking forward to watching Zaza throw at the Olympic Games.
Thank you, Michael. Enjoy. I know you will. I know it's a grind, although it's also amazing to be a part of it. Michael Ford of Baylor University, head track coach with the United States sprint team and Olympic team in France on a night yesterday with Noah Lyles. What a race. Unbelievable finish with Thompson, Curley, and others. This is 365 Sports. By the way,